My name is Allison Hodgins, and I'm a managing consultant in the contract administration practice at Redstone Government Consulting in Huntsville. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to make note of just a couple of questions that we see routinely in our practice relative to contracts and subcontract administration. I get asked a lot, what is the difference between an IDIQ and a BOA? Well, an IDIQ is an acronym for an Indefinite Delivery, Indefinite Quantity contract. It's a good way to secure supplies or goods from one supplier. The buyer generally knows that they will need the supplies or services, but they're unsure of the value or the quantity of really how much they're going to need. You can issue it with a basic statement of work covering a general scope. You then issue task orders against your IDIQ for your more definitive scope of work or supplies. You can go ahead and negotiate labor rates in advance for all of your labor categories, and as long as you document that those prices are fair and reasonable. And you can issue task orders underneath it. Each task order is then your separate standalone contract. You know that you're going to need it, but you don't have a established value yet. That's the purpose of the IDIQ. Now, the difference between the IDIQ and the BOA is an acronym for Blanket Ordering Agreement. It's not a subcontract, as there's no value or consideration on it. The BOA is not a subcontract, as it has no consideration. You can go ahead and negotiate your terms and conditions for your agreement, and it's your mechanism for ordering. Orders placed are individual subcontracts. You can award multiple number of contracts across multiple programs. That's one of the good, easy ways of using a BOA. I get asked a lot about different contract types. When is it appropriate to use what type of contract? The basic first question I get is, when is it good time for me to issue a firm fixed price contract? When your requirement is clearly defined. Your seller is prepared to deliver within the agreed time. A good example of this would be 10 boxes. I'm buying from ABC company and I want 10 boxes, and I describe the exact specifications in my statement of work for the dimensions of the boxes and what I need those boxes as far as their materials to be made of. So the seller who's going to supply me those boxes should know exactly how much time it's going to take them to build those boxes and the requirements to do that. This type of contract puts a lot of risk on the seller because there's no adjustment to price based on the cost of the seller. There's different types of firm fixed price contracts, but if the seller is falling behind or the material prices for him or her to deliver go up or down, there's no adjustment to that firm fixed price. This also is a really good way for a seller to make a really good profit margin. If they're very efficient and can do the job quickly, they can move on to other projects and they're still going to capture that firm fixed price. We get asked a lot about CPSR and what it is and how it affects a company's organization. A CPSR is an acronym for Contractor Purchasing System Review. It's conducted by DCMA, and it's conducted when a seller expects to exceed $50 million in sales in a 12-month period to the government. It's an evaluation of a contractor's purchasing, material, services, subcontract management through their life cycle and performance. So essentially, they're going to review the policies and procedures that the organization is following in conducting their procurements. And they're going to audit files. Are those policies and procedures working? Are the buyers following them? And do they meet the criteria as established by DCMA? Get asked a lot about SAM. SAM is an acronym for System for Award Management. It's a government website. A lot of contractors ask, do I really need to be registered in SAM? Yes, if you want to do business with the federal government, you should be registered in SAM. Contractors update their SAM registration yearly. You have to have a DUNS number, your Dun & Bradstreet number, in order to get registered in SAM. This also is a catalyst to establish a CAGE code. CAGE code is issued by Defense Logistics Agency, DLA, They issue commercial cage codes to contractors. They're specific by the DUNS number. This is also site specific. So every year you go in and update your SAM registration, but your cage code is valid for 5 years. The SAM registration includes many representations that a contractor makes as to what types of products and services they're selling, where they want to do business. They identify the NAICS codes of those products and services that they supply. The SAM registration also includes consent to tax disclosures. It doesn't take very long to do, but it has to be a thorough and complete and accurate registration. If there's a situation in your organization that causes a change to any of the representations and certifications in SAM, the contractor should go in and update those as necessary. Another question I get is about NAICS codes. Really, what is it and why is it important? NAICS is an acronym for North American Industry Classification. It's done by industry and establishes codes for those specific types of industries for products and services. The government uses NAICS codes when they are issuing RFPs or when they're establishing contracts. It identifies to potential bidders what the specific supplies and services are. It also is very important relative to the Small Business Administration. The SBA has size standards specific to each NAICS code, which is based on threshold value of the company and the number of employees. The government will issue set-asides for small businesses, and those NAICS codes and those thresholds are drivers for that. So in closing, those are just a couple of the questions that I see from time to time on my side of the practice. Redstone Government Consulting provides government contractors a whole host of services relative to accounting, contract administration, human resources issues, policies, procedures in the industry. Whether you need assistance in understanding your contract or you need assistance in preparing policies and procedures, we can help contractors in those areas. Please give us a call or contact us by email if you need any assistance, and we'll be happy to see if we can assist you. Thanks.